All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the January 17th, 2023 Board of Education regular meeting at 7 p.m. And good evening to you. Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Berardi?
Here.
Mrs. Deck? Here. Mrs. Mala? Here. Mr. Mazzano? Mr. Monson?
Here.
Mr. Palazzo?
Here.
Mr. Trabuzio?
Okay, we do have a quorum. Just for the record, Board Member Mazzano did notify me of his absence tonight. He's going to go to first one. Pledge of Allegiance tonight. We're going to be led for the Pledge of Allegiance by Giles Pride Leaders. So I'm going to turn over to them.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you guys very much. Mrs. Lott, can you read the mission statement of the district?
The mission of Norwich School District 80 is inspiring educational excellence in a nurturing environment.
Okay, thank you much. Okay, celebration of success time.
Well, I would like to celebrate and introduce the District 80 Giles School Pride Leaders. These leaders are leaders of our building, and they support Giles School community in our success and celebrating our success amongst all the students at Giles School. And I thought it would be really a great idea to bring them here for all of you. So if you don't mind standing and sharing what we do as a program at Giles School.
You guys know that up there. You can go to the front.
Good evening. We are here tonight to celebrate District 80's Pride program.
We are all Pride leaders at Giles School. As Pride leaders, we are positive role models for our peers, and we hope to create a safe, respectful, and welcoming school environment.
As Pride leaders, we help promote school spirit and welcome a positive learning environment. As Pride leaders, we are responsible for various activities, announcements, and leadership roles throughout our school.
We have been a great year so far, and we've had a lot of fun. So far this year, we've done 2 truths and a lie. Start with an LOA, Red Ribbon Week, staff versus student volleyball game, canned food drive, and angel tree collection and shopping.
We've also participated in village tree improvements, cards for servicemen and women, spirit week, buddy activities and assemblies, and also student of the week. These are some pictures of the activities we've done so far. Assemblies, more assemblies, spirit week and assemblies, red ribbon week, and the staff versus student volleyball game. We've also done village tree ornaments, angel tree collection and shopping, more of that, and buddy activities.
We are so excited about our upcoming events students will be taking part in. The Great Kindness Challenge, Staff versus Student Basketball Game, Student Appreciation Week, Special Olympics Respect Week, March Madness, Dodgeball Tournament, Wacky Grade Level Olympics, Spirit Weeks, Buddy Activities, and Assemblies.
The Pride program embraces being Giles made, and we look forward to a great remainder of the school year. Thank you for celebrating Pride.
While you're getting organized, I just would like to add that during the Thanksgiving holiday, they raised a lot of canned foods to support our local community, which is really wonderful. And then also at winter time, the winter holiday celebration with Lee School as well. So great job.
So real quick before you guys go, I just want to thank Ms. Fig and the young ladies that are in the Pride Leader Group from Giles. It's an amazing job. Everything you guys did doesn't go unnoticed, and it benefits the school and your classmates and yourselves too. So on behalf of the board, thank you for everything you did and everything you're going to continue to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are still in celebration of success. Does anybody else have anything?
Well, I'll keep it rolling. So out of that computer science program at Ridgewood High School, out of my last communication with Ridgewood, there was 59 students. Of the 59, 41 were from Giles. So that's really great news. So thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll share a little bit of a celebration from the special education department. It goes a little bit into things later on, but generally speaking, we had a very successful set of data days for both Lee and Giles. We have approximately 144 students that are currently receiving special education services, and of those, 118 of them met all of their goals or all but one of their goals in the first trimester, with further 134 actually meeting more than that limit. So we actually only had a few who did not meet those specific goals that were set out by their teachers prior to the year starting. So very big success, very good work to all of our case managers and the like.
Very good. Thank you.
And I don't know if Dr. Raviolo is going to share the news we just received before the meeting today, that you go ahead and share that.
Sure. So we just found out that the Norwood Schools Foundation had recently placed the order for the risers that they were helping to raise funds for. So we're really excited about that, and happy to say that they should be here in time before our spring performances. So they'll be put to good use right away. So excited about that. And just a thank you to the Norwood Schools Foundation.
Very good, thank you. Yes, and thank you to Norwood Schools Foundation for that purchase for the district. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to our action item, and I said board to consider the approval of the agenda. We're going to modify action agenda item 14D will be tabled. So agenda is going to be slightly modified and 14D David being tabled. Any discussion? Without discussion, I have a motion to approve the agenda as now modified.
Second.
Maria, second by Molly. And roll call.
Mrs. Lala? Yes. Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Monson?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes. And that'll carry. Recognize visitors again. Thank you for being here. Correspondence, nothing to report since the last meeting. Public participation. Did anybody sign in? Oh, okay. Mr. Leslie. I think Timmy's worse than you.
I know the rules. I have to go with you guys.
Yeah, we're good.
So Tim Munson, it's been a while since I've seen you guys. First off, thank you for you at the table. I've been there. I know it's a rough time away from family, especially with changing things. A little sidestep to what I was going to say, because I wasn't aware of the special ed. Amazing to hear. When I was on the board, we had to make some changes for the better, and hearing those numbers, it was well needed, and thank you to our special needs staff for addressing it and rising to the challenge, and I'm sure that it will continue to grow, as that was done for. A couple things I wanted to bring up. Looks about the same as I was here. Not too much parent involvement. So when that happens, parents end up with only learning what they hear at home and within the realm of friends and rumors. So there is positive stuff, but some things that I've seen and noticed from being on that side of the table moving forward. I happened to be on the board when the restorative justice system was forced upon the school districts. And I had my doubts. We do have staff that rose to it, but it still needs a lot of work. And this has to come down to not only the board, the administration, and the staff. There's been an increase in administration to help with this. But I can tell you from what I hear happens more so at Giles, we have a long way to go. There seems to be a disconnect with the staff and knowing what the system is, the way it's designed for, what the capabilities are. And not to sound mean, but it's going to come out mean. I don't understand how week after week there could be an individual student or a couple individual students that can disrupt a class so much that the class does not process. These children are not removed from the class, time is wasted, and everyone's education is affected by it. Hearing about teachers getting in 15-minute arguments with a 13-year-old while they're supposed to be teaching. Why do we have the system? Why do we have the additional staff to deal with this? Something the board may not know. It was brought in, I am aware, and I'm sure there's people that can guide you to extra. Restorative justice has a guideline. There are policies within that this board has the power to adapt and change. It can be tweaked. That needs to be used. There's no reason that 20 kids out of 22 for a 40-minute class should have to listen, experience what's going on top of not getting their education during that time. It's failing, there needs to be more attention. I don't know what that takes, judging by the amount of parents here. I don't know who hears it. I hear it from multiple parents within, we'll call it my clique. I hear that it goes on. I don't know why staff doesn't report it. I don't know why the issues that are happening in the halls in the class are not being brought to the next level so they can be addressed and taken care of. Aside from that, things that I've heard throughout the year, the flag. Our pride leaders stood up and led us in the pledge. That's the reason we're here. That's the reason we work. That's the reason we have tax dollars to have our staff here. And those reasons need to be taught in class. The district does have the power to look over curriculum, make adjustments to curriculum, and choose which separate curriculums they use as long as we meet the basic criteria as provided by the state and federal government. A little bit of that flag is getting lost, especially with our current political culture and social media. The things I'm hearing come out of the classrooms are things I never want my children to experience. This is the place to do it. Without that basis here, they're not going to know that moving forward. Second to last thing I got, I know I'm going to keep on time here. Everything going on with LGBT acceptance, programming, curriculum. It's not easy. Not everybody agrees upon it. But I want the board and the administration and everyone involved that's interacting with their children on a daily basis is yes, everyone is accepted. Yes, everyone needs to be accepted. Everybody needs a chance to be who they are. What's getting lost in that is the children do not understand at this point that it's okay if they're not part of one of those other groups. They're feeling less significant. They feel like they have to give in or succumb to a situation or something said by somebody that partakes in a different lifestyle. And there's nobody on this face of this earth that is going to tell my child that somebody else's feelings is more important than their own, that somebody else's values is more important than their own. That is not inclusive. That's being lost with what is being pushed in the state of Illinois right now with curriculum. Your life is fine, your life is you. I can be in the same room as you. That is not me. I don't have to be that. That's what these kids need to know. It's okay to be them, even though they're not so-called different. It's brainwashing and it's being effective. I think it's sad when a child has to be talked to about how they respond to somebody, but then in the same day be questioned by a classmate on why they're wearing a shirt with an American flag on it. And being told by another classmate in a classroom that shirt doesn't mean anything, and they shouldn't wear that shirt to school. This needs to come down here. It's not happening outside these walls. This is where structure is built. It's where it was built for me. It's where it was built for some of the board members sitting here that are still here and still have their kids in these schools. It's a rough fight. I was there, I know. There's nights, it's not fun. It's a lot of time. But you guys have the power to do that. The staff has the power to do that. And to be part of this community in the future and to keep this community multi-generational, everyone has to work together to achieve that. I know I haven't seen you guys. I just wanted to come. It's looking like an end of an era for me. In a few short months, we will have the last of my family and extended family in District 80. And it's been a heck of a ride, and I just want it to be like it was for us. I want it to progress into the future. And I want all the board members' kids that are putting in time, the teachers that have been here forever and turned into administration, to build it back up. Because without building that in the kids and the community within the kids, the structure within the kids, I gotta tell you, these chairs are only going to get more empty. So thank you for your time. Please push forward. Kids first. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody else sign in? I don't want to miss anything. Okay. Before you close, District had one since our last meeting. Mr. Esty requested the following electronic records, preferably non-PDF, whatever. Of the following data points for all current school board members. Full name, being first, middle, and last, date of birth, home address, birthday service, and was the board member appointed or elected. Again, that'll be on the district's website for public view. Presentation, turn it over to Mrs. Weaver.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm trying something a little different tonight. Instead of putting the projector in the middle and projecting up here, I'm trying to put our sideboard. For the board, you do have this presentation also in Word. Let's see how it goes. As I spoke to you last month in my discussion report, it is time for us to approve the tuition and curriculum fees for the 23-24 school year, FY24. And I've included in here are the proposals for the fees. Next month, we would look at approving the fees, if the board is ready to do that. So I'm going to start off with looking at the proposed preschool and kindergarten tuition and fees. Now, I am going to speak in this discussion report today about PFA. However, even with PFA, we do still need to set an amount of money for preschool tuition in case we do have students who are the tuition route for preschool. So as you can see, I gave you a 3-year look back of FY21, 22, and 23, and then a proposed of FY24. When we began preschool and kindergarten tuition, we began both at $2,600 for the entire year. Now, I'll remind you, this is the second half of the day for kindergarten. So the first half of the day for kindergarten is free for everyone aside from the curriculum fee. And then if parents wish to stay for the second half of the day for kindergarten or the morning, afternoon, then it would be an additional $2,600. I am proposing that we increase tuition and kindergarten fees to $2,800, which is approximately 8% of an increase. I think we've held steady the last 3 years. I'm really proud of the fact that we haven't raised fees. However, with inflation, how much things are going up, I think that we need to consider a 8% increase at this point. That is also what we're looking at, about a 15% increase on curriculum fees. So our preschool fee is $150. I am proposing it to increase to $170. And again, you can see we've been holding steady since FY21, 22, and 23 in those fees. that 50% proposed increase at this point. Moving on to the rest of Lee School, we're looking at our 3-year look back. As you can see in FY21, our fees were considerably larger than they are today. This board made a decision to cut fees in FY22. We were able to sustain that cut into FY23. However, now looking at FY24, I am proposing about a 15% increase in fees. So that would be moving from 208 for first grade, second grade to 240, for third grade and fourth grade from 213 to 245. And then there are, on occasion, times when a student for preschool students, this would be a 3 and 4-year-old who is not currently in our preschool program, where they qualify for speech services only, we would be looking at a slight increase on that as well, from $80 to $90. And then again, as you can see in FY21, the proposed fees for FY24 are still under where we were 3 years ago. Moving over to Giles, again, you can see in that FY21 that our fees were relatively high at that point compared to where the board had made a significant cut in FY22. Again, we were able to sustain increasing fees last year for FY23. However, we are looking at now about a 15% increase in those fees. I know that we don't like to increase fees, but I think we're at a point with the increase of curriculum, the increase of paper, and what's that is costing, workbooks, electronic technology that we're using in the district, that we need to take this 15% increase.
Is that correct for fifth grade, FY21 338?
It is, yes. They were purchasing at that time heart monitors and heart straps, and that brought that increase up. We don't purchase those anymore. So that is part of that difference. So thank you for pointing that out. I believe there was also a Spanish book that was being purchased in 5th grade that was used in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That is no longer happening as well. When we stopped that in 22, that's the way we were able to bring that fee down to where the 6th grade fee is. Any other questions for the board?
Thank you. We'll stay right with you with the administrative report. I'll just point that out.
Okay, I just have 2 quick things in my administrative report tonight. Most of the things that I have tonight are in discussion items. First thing is our update on cash flow. I know it's our favorite topic. So we received about $4.3 million in December and January for taxes, which we were very, very happy about. At this point right now, all our interfund loans have been paid back. So all the resolutions that you approved in the last few months' board meetings from working cash have all been paid back. After the February 10th payroll, and with the first payment of EBF, which is about $64,000, that's the money we received from the state, we will have a little bit under $300,000 in the ed fund. Right now, we're fine. We're doing okay. We may, depending on what happens in the next month, we may need to look at a loan from the working cash into the ed fund in February. It all will depend on additional funds that we'll receive between now and then. If you think about it, we should start to get March tax dollars in. I haven't heard anything about March tax dollars being delayed. Actually, I don't even think they can do that. I think they need to get paid. However, if we are anywhere probably under $1 million at the point of the February 21st board meeting, then we will, I will ask the board to pass a resolution to move some money from working cash, which we would quickly pay back once tax dollars continue coming. $4 million is where we thought we'd be sitting today. I don't know how much is still outstanding, but I know that we were predicted to get about $4 million in And again, we're expecting March tax dollars to begin to come in, so we may, I may report to you on February 21st that we're fine and we're moving forward, everything's great. But we also just may need to do another inter-fund loan at that point. So keep in mind, this is not because of any kind of mismanagement of money, this is just the tax flow and the cash flow of what's coming in, because we are on cash basis. My second update is just a buildings and grounds update. I know the committee hasn't met this month, so just want to give you a quick little report of everything going on. We're moving very quickly in buildings and grounds right now. All of our work over the last 2 years is kind of all starting to come together. We replaced both of the RPCs at Giles. We have one replacement at Lee so far. They're in line to make the second replacement soon. We received materials from Morton Supply already, so the copper's starting to come in. And they are starting the actual plumbing inside the hallways here at Lee on Monday the 23rd. The bid for the preschool area is out. Those bids will be open on February 15th, so I should bring that to you on February 21st at our next board meeting. We're excited about that project. We had a couple of delays in it because we were looking for some plans, for some piping, for plumbing, but we're pretty much right on target now and really excited about getting the project. We are re-looking at all the rest of our projects that we have going on. We met with Train to get the chiller set. We are going to put one of the chillers into the state maintenance grant, that $50,000 grant that we talked about. And we should be bringing you the rest of the chillers very soon, which we're also going to be using some ESSER-free funds for. Really exciting stuff. All of our planning and meeting, the BG meeting, the committee has not quite been. All of that is kind of coming together. And that's my report.
Any questions, comments from the board? Turn it over to Mr. Masters for a special education report.
Thank you. So kind of going back to earlier, our SPED Data Days was very successful, as mentioned before. Over 80% of our students have met either all of their goals or all but one, and then a further 134, so less than, I want to say, believe less than 7% have met all of everything but 2 or more. So we have only a small handful of students who we are kind of looking very carefully at, but the Data Days really is not only analysis day, but it really is an action day. I met with each of the case managers and we were able to kind of create a plan moving forward for each of those students. One goal not met is still too much, so we are going to continue pushing forward to make sure that all of their, we continue to get as close as we can to 100%. So. The SPED committee actually was able to meet on December 20th, just after our last board meeting. We were able to focus on a blueprint for how to create exemplar IEPs. So as many of you may have heard, IEPs are not a singular document, they're all the same, but they are nuanced, it's individualized by nature. However, there are best practices and a certain format that really does allow us to kind of stay legally compliant with that. And that would be something that the committee is focusing on moving forward as we get any new individuals in the special education program, how to basically kind of stay within those parameters and do what's best practice best for kids. We are going to continue looking at different topics, including universal programmatic support. So what does it look like in each of the specific programs that we have, as well as how to provide some of those services to students who are demonstrating delays in academic progress alone, more so than a co-taught setting. So we will look at that as we continue. Transition meetings, we are actually very excited that these will be happening. So these are for our 8th grade special education students. They are basically Illinois State Board requirement at 14 and a half years of age. Students are required to basically attend their IEP meetings, and the focus shifts a bit more to focus on living, learning, and working beyond high school and including high school. So these will actually be held starting this Thursday on January 19th. The next one will be the 23rd and the 30th. We will actually be going over to Ridgewood High School. We'll be doing a collaboration with them. So this has taken a lot of effort on our 8th grade case managers' behalf. So I really wanted to take the time to thank Sarah DeVito, Stephanie Mack, Marley Frado, and Brittany Tian for all of their hard work to help collaborate on those and really make sure that our 8th graders are ready to move on to 9th grade and beyond. So thank you to them. And lastly, I have been working over the break on forging a couple of new relationships with of our ISB-approved schools for a student who is in need of an outplacement. This has really given me an opportunity to kind of expand beyond some of the schools that we had already forged relationships with, but it also has been able to kind of double down and really find that really successful kind of programming and give us some avenues for which to take with this particular student. So very excited to continue that, and I hope that we'll have some, a little bit more information to share as we go. So that concludes our report.
Board? Thank you very much. Moving on to our building principals. We'll start with Giles, Mr. Bianchi.
So thank you very much. We continue, as I said in previous board meeting, January is a busy month for assessments. This week we started our ELA diagnostic testing for math. That will take place all week with makeups taking place at the end of the week. And then next week we will take our math diagnostic testing. The data is very important for all grades. However, with 8th graders, the high school uses this data to determine their schedule at Ridgewood High School. So very important, so make sure they get plenty of rest, they eat a healthy breakfast. This year, we changed the format. We used to do 120 minutes. I should say at the end of last year, in spring, we started this new format where they take 45 minutes and we stop them, and then the next day we continue on. So that is currently taking place. As I said in our celebration, Ridgewood High School's cybersecurity computer science program began today. It goes through May 18th. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Ridgewood High School. And athletics, the boys basketball and cheerleading is wrapping up their season. Tournament will take place next week. Quarterfinals are at higher seated sites, and then the semis and the finals will take place at Union Ridge School. Next up is girls basketball. Girls basketball tryouts will take place on Monday, January 30th, and Tuesday, January 31st, from 3:15 to 5 at Giles School. Also going to be taking place in the Winter 2 season, as we call it, will be Scholastic Bowl. Our new security gates are installed at Giles and they are working, so thank you to the Board of Education for that. Student IDs have been issued to all of our students. Students should be wearing their IDs according to a law. On the back, you'll notice that your child's ID is the National Suicide Prevention Information. That is a law, and so we do have that on them. Students are expected to wear their IDs, except for PE, recess, and if they're doing some kind of project where for safety reasons, the teacher deems that they should take that off. During lunch, it'll be used to scan for lunch if they're purchasing or receiving a lunch from the school. And then for athletic contests or dances, they need to have their IDs. No ID, no admittance. If a student has lost their ID, can't find it, they should reach out to my office so that an ID can be given to the students. We do have a dance this Friday for our 5th and 6th graders at Giles School. It'll take place from 6:30 to 8:30. And then the 7th and 8th grade dance will take place next Friday, January 27th at Giles School, 6:30 to 8:30. The dances are hosted by the PTA. There is a $5 admission fee, and concessions, pizza, and water will be available at the dance. That concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Thanks, Mr. Deputy. Thank you. We'll go to Lee School now, Dr. Reviol.
Thank you. Some of the items I had are similar to Mr. Bianchi's. We are starting our middle of the year assessments. Tomorrow we'll be taking the reading map assessment, and on Friday the math map assessment. We have a special event planned Friday afternoon. We have a BMX biker coming in to do a performance, a little assembly. So we'll have 2 assemblies in the afternoon on Friday. Should be a really good time. The PTA actually is sponsoring that and taking care of the cost for that. So thank you to them for providing that experience for our students. We have the talent show coming up February 2nd, 5:45. You don't want to miss that, so make sure to add that to your calendars. Will be a fun event, I'm sure. Lots of entertainment. I believe we have just about 20 acts so far that are lined up. So we have our after-school programs that are starting up again next week, January 23rd. The North Park District released the schedule. We're waiting on the rosters. I know that there was a lot of interest because I've received a few, parent emails asking if they could try to, fit their child into another program. So I'm excited to see what those rosters are looking like, to see what other, offerings we may be able to provide to our students. And we also have some booster groups that'll be taking place again after school every day until 3:30 for students who qualify for reading intervention, as well as some after-school tutoring groups that'll be running again twice a week after school for an hour. That tutoring program is really targeted for students who meet specific criteria, typically falling within the 25th to 50th percentile. A lot of times we'll hear those students kind of described as those students who are in the yellow, and we want to try to move them up and push them to succeed. Like Mr. Bianchi said, we also had some security gates installed on the north and south lot here. We push through so we can make sure that those gates stay locked. Nice security feature. They look pretty great, and so we're excited about that. And in line with some of the security, we are continuing our partnership with the Norwich Police Department and partnering with them to strengthen our crisis response plan. And we do have some things in the works on our next Teacher Institute Day with our staff to continuously monitor and improve that process. And that'll conclude my report for this evening.
Okay, Dr. Regola, thank you. We'll go to building discipline, Mrs. Aarons and Mrs. Carnell.
This month we had one in-school suspension in violation of board policy 7:199 and 21. We had one in-school suspension in violation of board policy 7:190-12. And we had one combination in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension in violation of board policy 7:199 and 21.
At Lee, we had one in-school suspension in violation of board policy 7:199.
Okay, thank you both for that. Mrs. Muzek, staff report.
The staffing report, we tonight have the interventionist on the agenda to hire. We actually were looking at inside of our building and hiring a person. We can talk about later in the meeting. And again, we just sent out the surveys for next year teacher preferences. That is not mandatory. It is their preference only where they would like to teach along with the other paraprofessionals. Sometimes, especially with the paraprofessionals, they have plans to go to school next year or do something else. We'd like to know early what everyone's plans are. We just sent those out this weekend. So starting to plan the 23, 24 second. That's it.
Moving on to our board committees. In respect to board policy development, building and grounds, negotiations, education, parent teacher advisory, behavioral, there's no reports for tonight. Communications. Finance,
No report.
no report.
Nothing to report, but preschool contracts, and when does that discussion start?
We have that on the agenda for a closed session this evening.
Okay. Besides that, nothing to report.
Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. I ask the board to consider the approval of the consent agenda. Discussion on that? I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
No motion.
Second.
Renzo, seconded by Molly. And roll call, please.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mr. Monson?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala?
Carried. Action items. I ask the board to consider a motion to approve the 2023 through the 2024 ISB calendar. Discussion. I'll ask for a motion to approve the 2023 through 2024 ISB calendar.
Motion.
Molly, seconded by Maria. And roll call.
Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Monson?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Carries. I'd ask the board to consider a motion to approve the contract for emergency use generator. Discussion. I'll ask for a motion to approve the contract for emergency use generator.
A motion.
A second.
Lorenzo, second by Maria. Roll call, please.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Munson?
Yes.
Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
And that carries. Moving on to our discussion items, back to Mrs. Guzik.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So again, I have that presentation in board book, but I will present it on other boards also. 6 areas that I am just briefly speaking on this evening. First, I'll begin with Preschool for All grant. As you may recall, in September, we were notified that we were approved for the Preschool for All grant. It took several months for us to get information about the grant. But Dr. Rabiola and I had a meeting at the end of December with a representative from the State Board of Education regarding the details around the grant. We've been awarded $124,000 to use during the 22-23 school year as a planning year only. So what this means is the $124,000 that we've been awarded, we need to use for materials, for furniture, and also to purchase any assessments, curriculum that may be used in the classroom for next year. The funds that we receive for this year cannot be used towards tuition or to reimburse families for tuition. I know that might be disappointing. We were hoping we were going to be able to look at that. However, the way that we were funded this year, we were given the money to use as a planning year from the state of Illinois. Beginning in the 23-24 school year, we will open at least 34 spots of free preschool. These positions will be based on screening results, which the screening will be held in August of 2023. Dr. Rabiola and I have already started the planning of what the screening will look like and what assessments we're going to be using. Families must attend mandatory screening in order to be qualified for any of the free positions, and the funds may increase from 23-24. They are, prediction right now is we will receive more than $124,000, but I don't know if that's true until we actually receive the promissory letter from the state. Dr. Rabiola and I have a couple of appointments scheduled, I want to say next week, maybe the week after.
Starting next week?
With to look at some furniture. This actually comes at a great time for us, since we are living in the preschool construction area and creating more preschool space. We certainly can use the $124,000 towards furniture, materials, and curriculum and such. We have to use that money by the end of this fiscal year. So it could be a little bit of a challenge if there is lead time on furniture. We're going to try our best to get that all used this year the best that we can. There are a couple of different ways we can go with vendors. We are looking at Omnia source vendors or Sourcewell vendors, which, as you can recall, are approved vendors for the state of Illinois. Therefore, we would not have to go out to bid on the furniture purchase. So pretty exciting. I know that may not be what our families want to hear, but we're getting there. Next year, we will be up and running with at least 34 spots. On February 14th, we're going to have quite a Valentine's Day in District 80 because that is our West 40 compliance visit. This is the big compliance visit where West 40 comes out. I believe there are 3 different individuals that are coming. And they're looking basically at 3 main areas of our district. They're going to be looking at the buildings. They'll be looking for the safety for students, that all the materials that we're using are coded correctly, that all our safety and legal processes and procedures are up to code where we need to be. They're going to be looking at our policies. Deanna's been doing an amazing job going through board policies, making sure that everything that West 40 has is updated. We've updated quite a few policies over the last year, so she's been updating all the policies and for West 40, making sure that everything is up to where it should be. Kenny and Tammy are working with our school office people to make sure that we have all the required paperwork for staff. So things that we're supposed to have completed every year by everyone, all our trainings, all of our various requirements will all be looked at and make sure that we are up to where we should be. And finally, our principals that are looking at our curriculum, that make sure all our required curriculum is taught at all the levels they need to be taught at and where it's taught and when it's taught. So this has been quite a process. February 14th is the final date that West 40 will be coming out. They'll be spending some time with me to go over all of these different areas, walking our buildings very much with a fine-tooth comb, looking at any areas we might need to improve. Should mention also, Derek has really been working hard to make sure that our HL list that comes from West 40 on their every year walkthrough is up to code, and make sure that our life safety items, we have a plan for them, and our information that we received from our insurance company has been taken care of. So all of those things have been worked on. I'm excited about the process. I think it'll be good to see what comes of it and see if we have areas for growth, and if we do, we'll fix them. Just give you a residency update. As you know, the board approved a residency firm, and kind of give you a little timeline of where we are with the residency firm. In September, they did first round checks. This is where they took names on the database and made sure, ran them through the database to see if people had outside addresses from Norwich or Howard Heights. In November, they started doing actual at-home visits, where they would knock on doors. They start with an address that is outside of the district first to see if indeed people are not living in the district. We actually found several families at that point. 2 of them have transferred out. One has taken a tuition option package. Then in December, they started surveillance. So here they started actually recording families coming and going, taking videos of people at houses that were outside of the district. And there were several families that they're still working on in December. We started in December, still working on in January. And we have 2 of them that right now are going to final hearings. So we'll see what happens with that. Those hearings are scheduled for February. I just want to give you an update that we do take residency very seriously. We want to make sure everyone is living within our boundaries. And if they're not, then asking them to leave. My next area is, I give you some data first on Chromebook repair costs. As you know, we are a 1-to-1 district with Chromebooks. Just give you some historical data. In 2021, we spent $47,000 on Chromebook repairs. So this was a student turns in a Chromebook for whatever the reason is, cracked screen, keys are off, accidental dropping, I spilled an entire can of pop on my Chromebook, things like that. So we spent $47,000 repairing them. In 21-22, we actually spent $78,000 repairing Chromebooks. Now, keep in mind that we did purchase many new Chromebooks between 22 and the 22-23 school year. So the great majority of our Chromebooks are newer at this point, where in 21-22 we had not been keeping up with our replacement cycle. We are now. In fact, we're a little bit ahead of our replacement cycle, and that really is due to some E-rate funds that we received and some ESSER money that we have put Chromebooks into. This year, we are, which is 22-23, we have spent $20,930 on Chromebook repairs as of today. Assuming that we're at half the year, we're on target for about $40,000 in Chromebook repairs. So, Mr. Job and I have been talking about should we look at Chromebook insurance. Right now, we're considered insuring ourselves. So we cover all repairs on Chromebooks at this point. There is an option where we can go out to an outside company and we pay per Chromebook, and the outside company then would insure any of the things that I just mentioned to you, including manufacturer defaults or not just accidental but purpose purposeful. You know, sometimes when a student comes in and a Chromebook has all the letters kind of chipped off of the keyboard, that doesn't feel it to them. So on the next page of Chromebook insurance, we've been researching 3 different companies. Worth Avenue Group, the School Device Coverage Group, and Security. And I've kind of given you some information there on how much it would cost per year for us to purchase coverage for the 1,500 Chromebooks that we currently have in the district. I think this is something we need to think about, especially as our Chromebooks start to get another year older. Chromebook life is 3 years, you know, especially with the wear and tear from the students. If we decide not to go this way, we would just continue to self-fund for insurance and pay for the difference. Part of our curriculum fee is a technology fee, so part of that is covered in this fee. So I'm not looking at an additional fee to the students. Instead of using that line item for the repairs for our shelves that we're using, we would be actually, you know, putting one of these companies in place of that line item. So I'm not thinking it's going to be an increase in our budget. Maybe something we want to try for a year. One thing to keep in mind, January 1st of this year, Illinois did pass a law that if a family has a waiver, it's very difficult to continue to collect fees for something like a Chromebook. So let's say that we did go to a family and we had enough information to say that this Chromebook was damaged and it was done purposely, and then we went to a family in order to cover the damage. It would be really difficult for us to collect money at that point from a family. When, as you know, we have many families receiving waivers. Something I think we need to think about. And the next area, as I mentioned last month, Policy 8:30, visitors to and conduct on school property. I know this is really difficult to read over here, and we'll put this presentation up on our website. Currently, right now, I have the current language written at the top. Our current language just does not match our current practice. For example, all visitors to school property are required to report to the principal, to the building principal's office. I think we need to end that part that says building principal and just say school office. And then add that part as visitors are asked to produce a valid driver's license or state identification card before being allowed to access the building. The license ID will be scanned into the school system and kept in the office during the visit. The visitor will be given a school lanyard and visitor's pass to wear during the visit. And basically changing the rest of the language to state that upon leaving the school, the visitor should stop back in the office, drop off their lanyard and pass, and then retrieve their ID. This is something we are currently doing right now, just our policy doesn't match. Any questions about that?
Michelle, I have a question about that insurance for the Chromebook. So how did you come up with those 3 companies, and have you done some investigation with other schools and what they use?
Yeah, thank you, that's a great question. So, yes, Mr. Job has a technology network that he reached out to and found these 3 companies through that network, talked with individuals who use one of these 3 companies. He also talked to the service that we currently have right now that repairs our Chromebooks, and to find out if they've worked with any of these companies. And the Worth Avenue Group company does currently work with the service that we have. The service we have right now, the nice part about it is they come and pick up the Chromebooks, they bring them, then they drop them back off. And this Worth, if we went with Worth Avenue Group, they would be able to continue that with the service we currently know. The other 2 services do require us to ship a Chromebook, which does take a little longer on the repair process. We do, if a student does need a new Chromebook, we do switch out Chromebooks, so it's not like a student is without a Chromebook for a period of time. And still, we want to get it back as quickly as we can. The company that works with the Worth Avenue Group is local. We've worked with them for a few years. But I do have a lot of research on all three of the companies that Mr. Jobe has compiled.
Okay.
For us from other technology directors.
The coverages are all the same, but those besides the dropping off and
They
shipping?
offer different levels of coverage, but the three amounts that are listed right here is the same level of coverage. We could, for example, decide to not cover manufacturer defaults, and then all of those amounts will change. Here we are just talking about the student Chromebooks. We have not actually seen a need with the teacher Chromebooks. They've been fine. That isn't an area that we're concerned with. Any other Chromebooks questions? Then my last areas, I know I've been talking a little bit about a fees collection agency. Just wanted to give you kind of a picture of where we are right now with fees. With tuition, preschool tuition, we still have 26 families. This is this year, we're only talking about this year fees, that have outstanding tuition fees. 40 kindergarten families with outstanding kindergarten tuition fees. And then down to curriculum fees for the 22-23 school year, 59 families in first through fourth grade, 68 families in 5th through 8th grade. And I just wanted to note that 8th grade students, all fees must be paid to participate in 8th grade events. So it does sometimes happen that families do not pay their fees for a number of years, but then when they get into 8th grade, they have high interest of paying their fees so that their child can participate in those 8th grade events. And when I mention 8th grade events, I'm talking about trips, dances, those kind of events, not graduation. We're not holding graduation for many of our fees, or the 8th grade events that are non-mandatory events. We're sending out letters and doing a big push in January and February for fees, so I will update you on where we are next month. I hope we have collected more fees as we start to get towards that March date. March is typically when we tell parents the fees that we pay. March is when we tell parents the fees that we pay.
When you talk about the kindergarten, are you saying they just pay the registration fee and never pay no payments, or?
Not necessarily. They may have made some payments, but they're not completely paid.
But are they like up to date on the monthly or not?
Not necessarily. I don't have the data in front of me. I can send that to you on how many are up to date. I don't know if you can have it later. The way the system works is if you want to make a monthly payment, you have a couple options. You can set yourself up for a monthly payment, or you just go in there and pay. You go in there and pay at any time. You can stop in at the Lee School office and pay as well. The only reason we mentioned Lee School office is because that's where the district office is. The district office is in the Lee School office. But there isn't, and monthly we send out statements, but there isn't something that automatically takes out of someone's checking account or charges their credit card unless they set that up. That isn't something I can set up. But a parent can set that up. Like, I want automatic withdrawal from my account every 15th of the month. They can do that. Unfortunately, that's something we can do. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any comments in general? I ask the board to consider a motion to adjourn the closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, and to review closed session minutes, and the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body to the meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Any discussion? I'll now ask for a motion, or did I just mention?
A motion.
Maria Lorenzo, Deanne roll call.
Mrs. Lala? Did you say, I'm sorry, excuse me, I thought you had said Renzo was first or second?
Yeah, Lorenzo, I don't remember. Lorenzo's first, Maria second.
Okay, Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mr. Munson?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes. Okay, that carries. Note the time, 8 o'clock, 8:15, please. All right, we're back in open session at 9:21 p.m. I'd ask the board to consider a motion to hire Josie Giannini, lead school interventionist, for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year with a January 23rd, 2023 start date. Discussion. I'll ask for a motion to approve the employment of Josie Giannini as lead school interventionist for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year.
Motion.
Molly, seconded by Maria. Ian, roll call.
Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Monson? Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Ruzio?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Okay, that motion does carry. I'd ask the board to consider the approval of the resignation of Brianna Satoro, district special ed paraprofessional. Any discussion on that? I'll ask for a motion to approve the resignation of Brianna Satoro, district special ed paraprofessional.
Motion.
Looking for a motion.
You didn't say discussion.
I did say discussion, but we said it. So
All right, sounds good, yeah, we'll.
So you will have motion then?
We'll motion that.
There's a motion, and then Maria, the second.
Sorry, I didn't
Roll call.
say motion.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala?
Yes.
Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mr. Monson? Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna? Mr. Ruzio?
Yes.
I'd ask the board to consider the approval to terminate Cameron Pickens, district special ed paraprofessional. Discussion. I'll ask for a motion to terminate Cameron Pickens, district special ed paraprofessional.
Motion.
Second.
Molly, seconded by Frank. Again, for the last one, Molly, seconded by Frank. For Cameron Pickens. And then when you're ready, I'll go.
All right, Mrs. Deck?
Yes.
Mr. Ruzio?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. And now it's board reflection time. Michelle, you and I were talking, it's pretty important. Like, you want to take a minute, fill that out when we're adjourn the meeting. That stuff like goes to the staff. I'll ask for a motion for adjournment at 9:25 p.m. Anybody second? Second, Frank, second by Maria. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the meeting is now adjourned. The official time is 9:25.